The Overcome and Conquer show is presented by The Project. The Project is a full immersion, 75-hour experience designed for men who know in their core they are not living up to their fullest potential. Rather than waking up every morning ready to dominate life, the mediocre man rolls out of bed and slides into the same unfulfilling routine they've unhappily been in for way too long. The Project is for men that have lost their internal flame and motivation to conquer. It's for men living an unfulfilling life that lacks excitement and purpose. Sound familiar? Then listen up. The Project is specifically designed to challenge you mentally and physically. We push you to the ledge of self-limiting beliefs and prove you've got much more in the tank. We kill the bitch and unleash the beast. We uncover the demons that hold you back and turn extreme pain into superpowers to dominate life. In the end, we turn mediocre men into modern-day knights. We forge a brotherhood and bond that levels you up as a better husband, father, and friend. But the Project is not for every man. In fact, it's not for most. For men who are okay with being in a rut and achieving less than their fullest potential, the Project isn't for you. If you're not willing to put in the work to fix what isn't working, the Project isn't for you. However, if you're done white-knuckling it through life, living one day at a time with no sense of purpose, and are willing to do what it takes to improve, the Project holds the key to unlocking the next chapter. Graduates of the Project join a brotherhood of modern-day knights and become the authors of their destiny. They have their fire reignited and reclaim dominance over their family, fitness, finances, and faith. If this resonates with you and you want to learn more, we encourage you to apply today at www.mdkproject.com/OC show.
Everybody wants to be on top of the mountain. The problem nowadays is people want to get dropped off at the top of the hill and look down.
It's that I overcome mindset that makes all the difference.
See, the way we're taught is you're going to claw, you're going to scratch, you're going to bite, you're going to dig, you're going to do whatever it takes to get to the top of that mountain.
That unequivocally is how I have managed to keep myself moving forward and finding success.
2 SEALs, 1 mission. The Overcome and Conquer Show.
And welcome back to the Overcome and Conquer show. This is an amazing episode for all you out there who are infatuated by the, Ray, I describe you always as a Greek god, but when those out there who are inspired by the Greek gods of the United States Navy SEAL teams, this episode is going to be all about that today because we absolutely have an amazing guest, a great friend. Dude, are you rocking your bobblehead?
Yes.
Except you have a picture of your bobblehead as opposed to the actual bobblehead. Without the bobblehead being here, that's called gear adrift, isn't it?
No, because when I bring it, everybody wants to steal it because everybody wants to be me.
2 is 1, 1 is none. There should actually be 2 Ray Kashkar bobbleheads.
Yeah, you need one.
Okay.
You need one here.
You know what? That's all I'm saying, man.
Well, we got it made in Japan, and it took like 4 years to get, so we don't know how to do this again without. I thought it was a done deal.
Well, and I did realize that when they made it, I mean, it looks like they put your head on top of my body.
They don't have a steroid
really
version. I asked them that, they didn't get it.
I mean, it's really sad. I'm sad when I look at your bobblehead. Anyways, hey, back to the show.
Holy shit!
We got a great friend and teammate who absolutely is doing some amazing things out there. As a matter of fact, I am sure that there are some of you out there that has seen his amazing, amazing book, Uncommon Grit, which they gave him unprecedented access to United States Navy SEAL training buds. And it wasn't just him taking pictures. He has got the most incredible eye for photography, and he catches these incredible images of guys going through training. So even if you've never been through training, even if you just have an appreciation for the hardship, the resiliency you have to go through this training, these pictures are incredible. And I tell you what, for us, for myself and Ray, when we went through training, when I rode around on Ray's shoulders for those 7 months, those glorious months.
Thank you.
As we went through training together, it brings back a lot of memories. So today, I think we're going to have a lot of fun getting into this. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our amazing guest, Mr. Darren McBurnett, a.k.a. Mac B.
Yeah.
also known as
Yeah.
McTeens. But I got to read you his bio because he truly is a modern day Renaissance man. And a lot of people that don't know anything about the SEAL teams, I think they think that we're all like Ray, just knuckle draggers, but we are not. I love you, brother.
It hurts. Proceed.
No, seriously though, there are some incredibly intelligent, very eclectic individuals that have been out there that have just, been there and done some incredible things. And McBee is one of these individuals. So he holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Purdue University, high school MVP and state honors in multiple sports, cross-country track, indoor track swimming. He's completed hundreds of road races. And listen, he's one of these guys that started his naval career later. And we're going to get into why that was. But he didn't even join the Navy until he was 24 years old. He went through SEAL training at 26, which I got to let you guys know, that is an old man to go through training. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't come close to the record. I do believe the record was 40, I think.
Ken Greaves, wasn't it? Ken Greaves was like 38 or something. He was
I think 40 stunt double is or something record, like that.
Yeah, like that.
But still, I mean, anything above about 22, you are feeling the pain of every day going through training.
I felt it.
Oh,
I felt it
every day. Like for me, I was 18. I was made out of rubber, but I still felt it.
It's like you should get a senior citizen discount or something. Like you should cut a week off or something.
You automatically get AARP when you check into BUD/S and you're over 24. So, but he went on to an amazing career in the SEAL team, SEAL platoon leader, senior enlisted advisor, worked at multiple East Coast SEAL teams, was a free fall instructor, received a ton of awards, and now he is out there spreading an amazing message of motivation and inspiration, working for other nonprofits to highlight the sacrifice of our brothers and sisters that have been lost and those who have been wounded. But I tell you what he is known for today, what he is really getting out there is highlighting his incredible photography. He's got some big things coming with this book and prints that are coming out. You guys absolutely want to find it, but it is my tremendous honor to have on our friend, teammate, modern day Renaissance, all around good looking, stellar individual, Mac B.
Yes, thank you. That was really cool. I was waiting for like smoke to go and fire going on, and
it's coming.
Don't worry, they had that post.
Oh, I was just wondering.
Bigger sponsors, that shit comes. It's coming. Don't worry.
It's coming. I'm sponsoring that, man. I feel like The Rock coming down, WWF and stuff. So freaking awesome. But thanks for having me. It was really fantastic. It's just, there's something huge that I like to think about is like synchronicity, like change of the purpose. And the other day, I was just basically just screwing around, and I just happened to turn on Instagram, and Ray was live. Like literally, what was it, yesterday? I'm like, oh, look at that. There's Ray. He's back on. I love watching Ray in the morning when he's driving to the gym. And
hold on. Stop. I need you to tell the entire world. Tell the entire world. I was the third person he followed after two other people and before Jason Redman. So I want the world to hear, because we just talked to him at lunch.
Did I even have an account then?
I don't think you did.
Doesn't fucking matter. That's not irrelevant. What's irrelevant is the captain was first. But tell them who in what order you followed on Instagram because of their awesomeness. Go.
All right, here we go. I get the Instagram was just an amazing thing. Rob O'Neill started me on Instagram.
Who's that?
He just Rob, just Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill.
He obviously he's Irish. Has he done something?
Yeah,
his name sounds familiar.
He's a very good shot. Is what he is. He's really good.
He won a skeet match.
Didn't he like kill someone?
He did, and he deserved it.
Yeah, he did. That's awesome.
But what I loved about Rob is even at BUD/S, he was shooting 300 perfect scores at the island. And all the instructor staff were looking at him, and Rob was like, oh, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But we were in a bar in New York City, believe it or not, having booze.
No.
And say it isn't so. And so him and I were drinking, and I showed him, there's two people that saw these photographs right off the bat when I had like 10 of them done. Rob O'Neill was one, and I showed Ray the other one. It was Kid Rock. So that's in order of the people that saw the photographs. And Rob's like, well, let's start you an Instagram account. He goes on there, we make it up.
Kid Rock was third?
No, he's actually not unfollowing Instagram.
Oh, check.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not even getting that. I'm 2 right now. Don't
Okay,
worry. It's
right on.
coming.
Hey, sorry,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to steal your
No,
glory. Hang
and
on.
so,
Should I highlight this for a second? So, ladies and gentlemen, let me get my announcer voice. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to highlight that Ray
Cash.
Cash.
What the fuck? Oh,
that
Lord.
Ray Cash Care was number 2.
To Rob O'Neill, hey, I'll fucking take it.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Hey,
And-
any day.
And I was a barn burner with Kid Rock. So continue, please.
So it was hilarious. So Rob's like, well, let's start you an Instagram. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he goes, oh, yeah, social. I'm like, dude, I'm duh. What is it? So he did it. He starts my account. I go, we'll call you McTeams because that's what we did in Teams. I'm like, okay. Well, you got a 3842 next to him. I'm like, all right, I don't give a shit. Now what do you do? He's like, okay, well, let's upload that one. But I'm like, all right, here, let me give you some followers. And he goes to his Instagram account. Hey, follow McTeams 3842. Bam, I'm like 1,100 followers in like literally 24 hours. I'm like, now what do I do? You know, he goes, well, just post your pictures and
Post
talk about them.
pictures.
And so I had no idea what to do. So I would like post one every 2 weeks. And every week I went, there'd be more and
Rookie.
more followers. I had no idea what to do. And I'm like, who do I follow? And Rob's like, so apparently I follow Rob and Jessica O'Neill, his wife. And I'm like, and I started like searching through Instagram, just, oh, I don't even know what the fuck this thing is. It's like, what is this? And then I saw Ray Cash. He's like,
Ray
this
Cash.
guy, I saw this guy looks freaking awesome. His team, I'm going to follow that guy, you know? And
My God. Hey, Ryan, producer Ryan. Hey, please, Ray's head is growing beyond what the
It
studio
is.
can
It
hold.
is.
Can you release a little
Yeah.
pressure?
He's staring at himself.
Don't you
in that
cut
mirror.
that shit out.
The pressure release valve. Make sure it's working.
And so it was after I started following, and then I pressed more photos. I didn't know who to follow. At one point, I had like 6,000 followers, and I was following like 4 people. Then I felt like a douchebag. 'Cause I'm like, oh, I should follow people. I don't know, what did I do? And so then then Samantha Bonilla, she started following me. So I started following her. Then Mikey at Forge Mike, and then Forge, because I started doing stuff with them,
Awesome
and then
dudes.
it started building from there.
Much love
But
to
Ray
Forge.
was like number 3. I know we said 2. We can put him at 2.
Oh,
but it was like 3.
wait. You just got dropped to number 2.
Yeah, it was Rob and his wife Jessica, and then Ray. That's pretty
Technically,
much.
they're a team, so I was second.
Yeah,
it doesn't
there you
matter.
go, yeah.
Team O'Neill, then me. Got it.
all right.
All right, let's move on.
So, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this interview, because I think we're going to get into there's going to be a lot of fun here, just hearing
Oh, God,
about your journey to where you came to, and guys, I cannot stress how absolutely amazing these pictures are. After this podcast, you need to look it up. You need to look up Uncommon Grit, and it is going to be. I don't want to steal your thunder. We'll get at the end of the show.
I like your
want
voice.
you
Your
to
voice
tell-
sounds really cool. I'm
I
like,
want
wow.
you to. Why my
That does-
voice?
yeah,
sounds,
I'm like,
my voice
yeah.
sounds very,
That's-
very cool.
It's-
Ray tells me that too. He has
It
me
does.
call him
I
late
could
at
just,
night.
yeah, it's like the color taupe. It's soothing.
Well, you know,
So-
he calls me at night and he says, "Will you talk to
talk to
me
Yeah,
before
talk
I
to
go
me.
to bed?"
I
I
love
always ask him what he's wearing. Khakis.
Mm.
Usually nothing, I'm sure.
it. Maybe we should talk about the Halloween party, but we'll
So-
keep going.
So, as we do with any show, we have our word of the day, and I tell you what, I love this word because I love individuals who are totally transparent in their lives and they don't put on any fronts. They're just like, hey, man, this is who I am. I try to be that way. I try and say, hey, man, I mess up. I make these mistakes. I'm all about it. And just, I think people can relate to that. And McBee was the same way. So, Mr. Care, would
Yes,
you
sir.
do us the honors for the word of the day? And then we're gonna kick it right back over to you so that you can tell us why, McBee, this is your word.
Hey, this is Ray Cash Care. Today, the word of the day is, this is a great word. And this is you, brother. It's eccentric. Okay, eccentric of a person or their behavior. So it means unconventional and or slightly strange. So what does that mean to you?
Oh, that's 100% me, man. I've always been a weirdo. I'll be honest with you. I always have. It's just who I am. I've just kind of grew up in the 80s. I was an 80s kid, and you know what? I grew up watching Flintstones and the Jetsons and play outside and play with little Star Wars figures. And,
Yes.
you know, just I was in my own little world. That's the thing about me is I've been living in my own head for years and years and years. It's probably why I'm all weird.
You know what I love
But-
about that story? She said plays outside,
Yeah.
not computers.
Yeah.
I love it. Keep going.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Played
Actually,
outside, man.
He had
and-
me at Star Wars.
Yeah,
I'm a
dude.
closet sci-fi geek.
Yeah, I was a fan until episode 1 came out. Good Lord. Anyway, that's
Where
a
we-
whole
yeah,
that's a
just
whole
ignore
nother
that whole
episode. Yeah,
series,
that's
so.
Yeah, I want, as if we are going to remotely talk about this and then we'll leave it alone, I just want Ray to be the offspring of Darth Maul. That's it. That's all I'm asking for.
Wait. Ray's not the offspring of Darth Maul?
I hope
I
that
always thought he was.
Dude. Oh,
Ray. You're here.
Yeah.
3 seals picking on one guy.
My bad.
All right,
So-
let's go.
Well,
But hey, what was the other definition of eccentric? It wasn't kinky.
Yeah, that's my word. Kinky. Kinky. Yeah, you are, dude. You're a freak, but you're a freak in a great way, and we love you. And if you guys don't know who McTeams is, you don't realize. I mean, this guy, I'm a wide guy. Okay, I'm 5'7", 205 pounds. And McTeams literally came to the house and like barely fits through the fucking front door. I mean, his shoulders, ladies and gentlemen, are like this big. And I had this giant extra large shirt for him, and it's not happening.
Not even close.
Not even close. So,
Well, what's so funny, a lot of people don't realize, I think people think that the average SEAL out there are these great big dudes. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, we have some big dudes in the teams, but for the most part, big guys have a hard time making it through training. It just bashes their joints.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
You're right.
Yeah.
I thought the same.
I've always been a bigger
No,
dude.
I
right.
thought they'd be
Producer
all really
Ryan,
big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody.
No,
I'll
but
be
they're not.
honest. It's kind of funny because I go speak at events and people have never seen me.
You were a SEAL?
And exactly. I get that so often. People look at me and it's like the wind gets out of their sails, and they're like disappointed to meet me. They're like, "You were it.
Ready? Ready? We're going to go back to him here in 1 second. I'm going to quote something from a movie because it's us. I thought you'd be bigger. We are the Daltons of the Navy SEAls. Go ahead.
Oh, my God. Well, I get that too, but I'm like, yeah, you look like you're being a SEAL, but you're a little fat. I'm like, gee, thanks. Thanks. I'm working on it. I was big at buds. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty much sure that I gained weight in Hell Week. But I've always been a swimmer and all that stuff. So thank God they had swimming at SEAL training. But the thing about buds is simply this. The question I get the most was, did you always want to be a Navy SEAL? Was it your life whole dream? I'm like, no, I got bamboozled into it. I don't even know what the hell it was. The hell is that? So, like I said, I got in the Navy first. I was a corpsman. So I went to HMA school there in San Diego.
Let's back up for a second because I do want to hear this path. I mean, you're a self-proclaimed eccentric. So you walked a path. I mean, you have a Bachelor of Arts degree.
That should tell you everything you need to know right there.
About the creative nature of how your mind works and how you ended up. So who were you as a kid, and how did you, how did you grow and find yourself at 24 years old saying, hey, the Navy sounds good, and oh, by the way, I'd like to go get my skull kicked in for 7 months in the hardest training in the world.
So, like I said, I played outside a lot, just a kid, I used to draw pictures all the time, and I was very artistic. I've always been artistic. I always liked to play Dungeons and Dragons, and then I'd take the dungeon and I'd draw the dragon and things like that. So that's always been my life. I drew in high school, but I was always a flake in high school. I graduated high school with a straight C average, but I always doodle all the time. You couldn't pay attention for nothing. But I did like.
So did you totally connect with the show Stranger Things? Were you like, I love this show?
Yeah, it does perfect. But in high school, I did gravitate to athletics. So I started out with cross country, did track, that led to swimming, did indoor track, led to triathlons. I ran the Boston Marathon in like in 87 as just a regular. We lived down in inner city Boston. And so, as part of the YMCA where I started training for my first Ironman, I'd run up, swim, and then run. And then, long story short, it's like, hey, we're the inner city youth group that initiates youth athletics to keep them out of like crime and things like that. So yeah, I'll do that. I'm an Irish kid here in an Irish neighborhood. So the YMCA took a busload of us all the way down to the Boston Marathon. And they said this, we gave out Exceed. You remember the Exceed drinks way back in the day? Mm-hmm. So they're like, hey, give all these runners Exceed. And they're just like, you can run the marathon if you want to. So they gave us these jackets and we were out of Exceed in 5 minutes. And I was like, well, I'm going to go run that. So I ran it, got done in like 3.5 hours, and then made our way to the red line, went to the orange line, took 2 buses home, took a shower, ate a bowl of chili, and watched an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation that just came out.
And I want to let anybody know that like 3.5 hours is a good time for a marathon. Anything below 4 hours is a pretty good time for a marathon.
And so, but that was what I did though. So the next year I did like my first Ironman, and so I was always very athletic, but I couldn't pay attention for shit when it came to schooling, which is hilarious.
Oh, you were destined for the
teams.
I always say, man, we are the if you want to describe team guys, it's a bunch of ADD adolescents.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at me trying to do time calcs for debts. I'm like, God damn it, this sucks. Where's an officer that can do math? But anyway, that was a path, and of course it wasn't it was C average in high school, so I ended up going to Salem State College. But I made Dean's List for 2 years in a row, and then I transferred to Purdue because my father went to Purdue, and my grandmother, and my brother, and my uncle, and my mom, and my grandma went to Purdue, so we had to kind of in. So I went in. And of course, with a liberal arts degree, of course, that's what I love about having a liberal arts degree is, first of all, just enough about everything, but not enough about anything to do anything important.
Yeah.
And number two, when you graduate, realize that I was in debt. 3, needed a job. And if I wanted a job, I had to go back to school for more schooling. And I'm like, you know what? I've had it. But my dad was a pilot in the Navy, so he flew A6s. And so we grew up on military bases.
Nice. I was wondering that.
Yeah. And so it was... yeah, exactly. So I felt at home. I'm like, I'm going to join the Navy because.
So this was the path. It led you down. Yep. You kind of went to school. You were figuring yourself out. Mm-hmm. You got to enjoy some liberal arts, where basically you get to sit around and drink coffee and a fantastic word I like to use, pontificate.
Oh yeah,
on many different subjects.
You analyze all sorts of stupid
I got to look
crap.
up pontificate. Hold on.
There you go.
Okay,
P-O. But that was. Then here I am in the Navy. I'm a corpsman in the Navy, man, and so I enjoyed it because I had.
So it was your dad that talked you into that, basically said maybe this is a good path, or how did you fall on that?
He just like, don't go in the Navy, just do something else. I'm like, I needed structure. I really did. I needed, because the running and triathlons and everything gave me discipline, but in college I kind of lost a lot of that stuff. I'm like, damn, man. I'm like, I need to do something. But I enjoyed the Navy life. Growing up, I enjoyed the bases that we went to, and I liked that structure, so I needed that. And it was just went right in, and they assigned me a corpsman because, I had a liberal arts degree, and some of it was like, I minored in PE. So I'm like, of course I got that going for me. So, but I did it. And then I went to Corps School, HMA school, and then we went to Balboa Hospital.
That was still in San Diego back then. Or is Corps still in San Diego?
Yeah. No. It's in Great Lakes now.
Oh, okay. Check.
But San Diego right there. And then we went over to Balboa Hospital, where I got to hang out at Balboa Hospital. And then, and it was great. And then you saw people.
So did you know anything about the SEAL teams when you joined the Navy?
No.
So how did you stumble?
You didn't know about me?
How did you trip over that brick?
Here's what happened. So, I'm in the Navy in like 93. So internet was invented, 92 or something like that, where it came out?
Yeah, producer Ryan, when did
smart guy over
when
there.
When did Al Gore invent the
I think it was 92.
Yeah, so there wasn't a lot out there, but you had your crew counselor. It's time to start to rotate out. And looking for the next ship I was going to be on, like the USS Always Underway or something as a corpsman, or the USS Mercy or something, or I was pushed. Oh, your athletic score is really good. You should go to FMF, And I'm like, oh, what's that? But he goes, hey, your swimming scores are ridiculously good, because I was doing like the PRT, and I'd do the swims in 5:45 with a side stroke.
Holy smoke!
However, I couldn't do pull-ups for shit.
5:45.
I did an 8:32, and I thought I came in like chariots of fire at the end, thinking I was the bomb.
Dude.
Yeah, I think the fastest I ever clipped was like 650 something ever, and that's ridiculous.
Both of you.
Yeah.
But dude, holy
yeah,
smokes.
but
You
here's
guys
what's
don't
funny.
know how fast. In order to qualify for training that 500-yard swim, you got to do it in less than
11 and a half.
Yeah.
Or 12 and a half.
12 and a half. Yeah, the run is 11 and a half.
Yeah.
The swim is 12 and a half. Now, you're not competitive unless you're down below about 10 minutes.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say 8:29, but good.
But the good news is with
damn
all
it, I
that,
should have said that.
The good news with all that, I barely did the 9 pull-ups, barely did the 52 and 42. Okay. So it's like, I remember the guy that actually gave me the test. Before I get the test, he looked at me and goes, you know what? If I electrocuted an octopus, that's what you look like doing push-ups. I'm like, wow. How do you react to that?
That's
I'm
graphic.
like, wow, thanks.
That
you.
really makes you think. In my mind, I'm envisioning an octopus connected to electric leads. And
I'm like shaking. But anyway, so my career counselor goes, hey, he said Navy SEALs. All right, he did, and I didn't really comprehend. But this is how he bamboozled me. He goes, "Hey, check it out. These guys scuba dive and they swim all day long. You're a fast swimmer. You should go." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a great swimmer. I have to do is swim all day. So here's McBee.
So you're basically thinking you're joining the Navy swim team.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to go do that to get out of work. That's what I was thinking.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's how smart I was.
Did you know?
That's pretty much what I think about when you go to Buds. I mean, it's just getting out of work for 7 months.
Yeah.
Sun and fun.
Or a year for some of us.
So I show up to this freaking place. I'm like, oh, and it's right across the bridge. Look how cool this is. Oh, I barely have to do anything. I come bebopping across the front desk. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm totally going to kill this place. I get to swim all day. I already had envisioned in my mind what I was going to do. And as soon as I got onto the grinder, I'm walking across with my dumbass Cracker Jacks, and instructor I forget, I think it was Gillespie was his name.
Oh yeah,
Kyle Gillespie.
He yells at me, he goes, "You are the fattest man in the world." And I remember kind of in my head going, "Look who's talking."
Yeah,
well,
Kyle
he
was
was not a small man either.
Wow.
Dude, that's so funny.
Of course, I didn't know how to react to that either. I'm like, yeah, I've always been big. And then he's like, he's like, go ahead. He yells at me, go hit the surf, you. And I'm like, I didn't know what that meant. And so I'm like, I asked him, well, what does that mean? And of course, that was a wrong thing to ask, and then he starts making push-ups. You run out of the surf, if fast you get soaking wet head to toe and you run back. And I'm like, okay. So I start untying my shoes, because I'm taking them off.
Yeah.
He goes, what are you doing? I was like, well, do you have a locker room I can change?
Bet that went over well.
Yeah, Gillespie wasn't known for his patience or tolerating any fools.
So as you can see, it deteriorated from there. So then I realized this place sucks. What the fuck?
What's amazing though is you continued on, because I do think there's a lot of guys. I mean, you see it. You see the guys that show up. And, you have a month of pre-buds or PTAR,
It's called
where
something else now,
basically
I
they
think, but
ramp it up and the ass kickings ramp up to basically where you get to the beginning level of when first phase is going to start. So you see definitely guys who quit before they ever start. And then you get the mass exodus that quits during the first 2 weeks. So I'm surprised that you were like, I guess I'm going to continue to do this.
I did, but it sort of turned into, because I've done athletics my entire adolescence, and I didn't want it to get me. I'm like, oh my God, I can stay a little bit longer, because everyone picked me to quit, number one, or not make it. I was like, if everyone had a poll, it was 100% McBee was on top of the list. So, but I wanted to prove to everybody that I could do it. But I was like, thank God. When we get to the swimming portion, I love the 2 mile ocean swims. Like, oh, thank God.
Oh,
I'm in the water.
So
oh
much.
my God. I was so happy when I got in the freaking water. I'm like, oh, I can relax. Someone's yelling at me and I'd pull my swim buddy along. Come on, but here's what changed is Hell Week changed for me, because that's when I stopped thinking about myself and I started thinking about everybody else.
Yeah.
When I started caring about the guy next to me more than me, because I knew if I quit, then now they have to take all that load, and it's possibly them getting injured, number one, and more damage can go to them. And number two, it was like, well, if I quit, then all this shit I did was for nothing. That's a big waste of time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
so,
the further you get along, you're just like, oh my God. I don't want this
So let me ask you this, okay? So if for the people that don't know you, graduated Buds class 208.
Yep.
How old were you? 26?
26 years
Okay,
old.
not a young man. Illustrious career in the SEAL teams. You've done it all. You retired after how many years?
24.
24 years as a chief?
Yeah,
you were much higher than me.
Yes.
Obviously not as high as Jason, whatever, boohoo. But here's what I have. This is what I want to know. And I think this is what the other people want to know. When did you come up with this fucking idea for Uncommon Great? Because that's what I want to know. Because in your career, you've done everything, which we're not going to get into. You've been at multiple teams. You've done it all. You've kicked ass, you take names, but because there's nothing else out there like this. We were talking at lunch today, and it's like, I'm trying to work on my book. Jason's got his second coming out. I mean, this is cutting edge technology. And not only is it that, it's 216 pages of fucking memory lane for me. And every time Jason and I turn a page, we'll get into that. Sorry. And the fact is when you turn a page, if you have went to Buds or you want to go to Buds or you even want to know what the hell Buds is about, I mean, it brought back so many memories, goosebumps.
Yeah, you capture the emotion on the faces. Like you capture the emotion that's in the air in that moment in time. And so one of the things, I mean, that you didn't just pick up an iPhone camera and go out there and
I
shoot.
mean, these are awesome.
What led you down the road of photography that then culminated in this book? When did you start that?
Oh boy, that's well, I'll try to condense it as much as I can for you guys. And I get that question a lot, and that's what the big ones always ask. So I picked up photography when I was a free fall instructor in Yuma. So I got that gig, the one that everyone avoided when you went through free fall jump master. Well, that bullet hit me. So I'm like, okay. So I went out to be a free fall jump master, free fall instructor, which I enjoyed. I really did. But I really enjoyed the ramp that went down at 5:15 in the morning.
I love it.
You guys remember the ramp going? That's straight up Navy
SEALs.
SEALs.
Oh my God, it's
so
my favorite
cool.
scene. I actually have a song. I actually have a song that plays whenever I think about that in my mind. It's Van Halen's, like right now, the opening piano interlude.
Mine's Run to the Hills when
like
the music
right
picks
when
up
the music
when we're running out. But yeah, I love it. Everybody's got one.
Mine's Dancing Queen.
Yeah, oh my nice.
Fucking Ryan.
Mine's Gary Newman's Cars. But anyway, so but I remember it's like I love that, and I remember being with my student. I'm like, man, look at that. You're getting paid to do this right now. Look at the beautiful oranges. Look at the vermilion colors. And I use the word vermilion because that's actually a color. And my student really, he's like this, ready to jump out, and he looks at me like I'm the weirdo, and I'm like, oh, go. I slap and he goes out, and then I just remember really enjoying it. I'm like, man, somebody should take a picture of this. And so, are you looking that up?
I have no fucking clue what that word means. I joke around a lot. I have no clue what that word means. And I really don't think the audience does either. And I actually play stupid, but I do not know that word. Can someone please tell me?
Isn't it a form of like an orangish?
Yeah, orangish red. See?
Yep.
It's not like a burnt sienna. Is it a burnt sienna? Is it a burnt sienna field?
Nah,
I learned that from working at the Gap, but we'll go into something else.
Vermilion.
So the colors were just, anyway, I remember come find out, it's like, somebody take a picture of this. So, of course, I go to the video det and ask them maybe if they wanted to give me a picture of that. And they looked at me like, what? And anyway, long story short on that one. So I decided to learn photography. It's like, I want to take a picture of that because I got my MFFI right now. I was an MFFI E, which is a military freefall instructor evaluator. So I was like one of the top echelon of guys. And I wanted to do that. So I had this skill to be able to do two things at once in the air.
So hang on. I got to pause for a second because this is just funny to me. That's probably missing out on a lot of people. Like the average person out there that's like, I think I'm going to get into photography. They're walking in woods or they're taking pictures in their house. You stand on the back of a ramp at 12,500 feet, give or take, and you're like, I want to start photography while jumping out of airplanes and taking pictures of guys in the air.
Yes.
Which is
kinky.
Hysterical.
That's
it's hysterical
kinky.
to me because it's that's like a team guy mindset. It's like, well, I'm already doing this extreme thing, so what else can I do?
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% correct. So of course, at that time, I'm unhappily married with kids, and so of course that means I was broke, and but I wanted to learn. So I went to Dr. Google #1 to learn photography, and then I learned this. What is DSLR? Digital? What do we have? Digital photography? What the hell is that? And so I started learning. Then I went to Barnes and Nobles with my daughters. They went to the children's section. I went to the photography section, and I pull out books, and I would sit and read them and take notes. When my little green book that we all get in the teams, you write a book, and then I'd be that guy. I just put it right back and walk out. So, so I got all these notes, and I'd look them up, and then finally I realized I didn't really have any money. So, a lot of stuff that I had, a lot of comic books that I had, and action figures and figurines that I had, I sold, and I got a Canon 30D with a Tachyna lens.
So that was the first camera you ever bought.
First camera.
Love it.
I bought a gold member. Ray, it was a gold member, and that was what.
Does that have something to do with your lower extremities?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
It's a little gold plate that actually goes on your camera helmet, and so I drilled a bunch of stuff, went to Home Depot, made it, and then finally I got the bite switch to take pictures and video at the same time, and then that's how it started. So I did my first jumps. I couldn't do it while I had an instructor because I really wasn't qualified. So I got to the video det, went through the course, and then I jumped the advanced course and videoed them, and that's what I'd practice my photography. So my first shots were at 16,000 feet going like 120.
So awesome.
And then you learn there. But here's something that's tricky: is you had to learn how to edit this shit. It's digital, and so for 6 months I didn't have a camera. So what I tell like a lot of people that do photography is I learned it backwards. I learned how to digitally edit, understand, because it's a digital photo. Everything is numbers. Okay, it's not a picture; it's numbers. And your photo is in red, white, and blue. Red, green, and blue channels, and it's all black and white. And so once you start learning the histogram, understanding that everything you're seeing is like you're like a Terminator. Everything is numbers, and those numbers represent grayscale. And so when I started looking at things, I was like, okay, I know what that's going to look like. I know what histogram looks like. I know what that means digitally. And so when you get into when you finally dump it in a photo, you're like, oh, that's Photoshop. It's like, no, dumbass. That's how you got to edit your freaking photo.
That's amazing. So this is a level of genius. It really is, because it means you are able to look at the world outside and translate it into digital.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
numbers.
an amazing skill, because you're already taking the picture, thinking about what you can do to that photo, which must be why your photos in here are so amazing, because you're already seeing digitally in your mind what I can do with this.
It's exactly that, and that's
a gift.
That's how I learned, and then it just got better and better. And of course, after time, I got done with free fall. I got out. I got back community. I went out. Did 2 years in CENTCOM at DeSoto, and then learned stuff. Then my name got out there a little bit. Say, hey, McB, take a picture of me, or take a picture of our platoon, or take a picture of this. Hey, go on this. It just happened.
Do you talk about when you went to LA and you were taking those pictures of the models that were doing those things together? Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that was Ray.
We weren't supposed to talk about that.
No bullshit. You guys are running this. Nope, don't bring me into this.
Hey, wait. No joke. We know that was going on a little bit with certain individuals.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So,
who was that guy? Remember he was doing.
I won't name names. I won't dime him out. But there were several guys that got sucked into that they were targeting young bud students to go take pictures that were ending up in the back of pornographic.
Oh, damn it! I got caught. I got busted a couple times. So my question is, and I'm going to get serious here, is for people that don't know what Uncommon Grit is. It is I don't even want to just say a journey through buds, but it's 216 pages of just brotherhood. I don't know how else to say it, because the question I have for you, the question I've been wanting to ask you, I should ask you earlier, is, we pulled a couple powerful pictures up. And my question to you as an artist, okay, just like, what the picture you showed us, I know, because I don't know how to say this without getting emotional. They have so much meaning. When I looked at your, today you gave me a gift, you gave me a print, and I had goosebumps. What inspires you to take the picture that you take? Because like the one that we're going to show, when I look at it, I feel a lot of different emotions. How do you draw from that?
So that's, you're hitting on exactly what, I wanted to do. Okay. Especially as an artist, people look at me, it's like, oh, you're a Navy SEAL. It's like, no, I'm retired. I'm actually a weirdo artist, just to let you know.
Kinky.
Kinky, but what you're talking about is how this came about. Well, the book came about through getting requests on Instagram. It's never going to be a book at all. Okay. It was not. The whole thing really started with, I got a pacemaker put in. So what that means is like one of my last platoons that I was doing at SEAL Team 3 is, you learn a couple things when you're 44. Number one is you don't become the platoon chief of platoon when 4 of your new guys were born when you went through buds. So you got that going for you. And I'm 44. So my heart was like, we're done, And so I ended up at Balboa Hospital, pacemaker goes in and all that. And so I had a lot of time to reflect, and then, I got a call from a lot of senior leadership. One of them was, the commanding officer at Duncan Smith. You guys know Duncan Smith, right? Yeah. So he calls me and says, "Oh, McB, we got this thing going on, and we're trying to do, he's Admiral Stevens at the time. Oh, actually, he was Captain Stevens at the time. He was the CEO of the center, and now he's an admiral now. But they want to redo like the new command and dog videos and things like that. I have to tell this stuff because that's what leads to this.
Okay.
And yes. So they already knew about your photography skills. You already were making a name for yourself.
Yeah, and it was weird. And Duncan Smith, it's like when I was actually teaching free fall and actually teaching our guys free fall at ATC for a hot minute. he came out and asked me to film from some free fall for a movie for whatever, for a short video documentary for something else, which ended up being Act of Valor. I'm like, wow, that was kind of cool, I guess. So I did all like the air scenes and stuff like that. But anyway,
Nice.
that's how he came searching me again. And he asked me to do the same friggin' thing, but we're doing it at Bud's. And I felt like that scene at a Major League. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know if I want to come out of retirement.
I got a pacemaker. I'm watching My Name is Earl. I just don't want it.
Wow. Showing your age.
Bag of Cheetos in your left hand, right hand stuffed in your pants.
I'm living there, just sitting there like I'm on convalescent leave for like 6 months, so I'm just, just basically, but I'm like, all right, so I'll go out. And then I grabbed all my stuff and I go, here's what we're going to do. We want to do this new film. And this was to snap some photos, if you will. I'm like, okay, I'll do that too. And we shot some video, and then all the people that wanted this new command video. So it was a high up initiative. And so, they asked me, I was like, all right, I'll do that. And we're all sitting around powwowing with all their leadership. I'm like, yeah, McBee's a great photographer. Take some photos. And I'll always remember this. He takes photos like, we don't need any stupid Buds photos. You got plenty of them. Nobody cares.
Who told you that?
It was, I forget.
Someone.
I forget the name.
Somebody without any.
It was a couple people that
forward thinking.
Yeah, even the guy next to me I was supposed to be working with, he goes, I don't need stupid photos of Buzz. Nobody cares. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Bet you're kicking themselves in the ass now.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I start filming and everything, but I snap a couple photos. And here's what happens. I did a photo that I had in my head that if I was going to, and I told myself, I'll do all this video stuff, but I'm going to snap a photo to put on my wall to remind me of where I started in Butts. Okay?
Love it.
That was my initiative. Is like, for me, Uncommon Grit started with my idea is like, well, if I'm going to get this opportunity to do this at Buds, I want to put a photo on my wall of where it freaking started for me. When I made that decision, I'm like going to move forward, and it's in there. You probably saw it. It's behind you're standing right behind a guy holding the log, just like this. All right. And I did it in black and white because we all know at Buds, everything to me in Buds is black and white because of the damn June gloom, May gray fucking marine layer that always came through. That was always miserable, always made us fucking cold. And that was the shot. It was the grungy, sandy. If it's in there, we can probably find it. And that was the first shot. And that's the way I wanted it. That was the shot. And then we got right after that, I did the purple smoke shot, the purple smoke.
Yes, I love that. But everything else is the black and white. I love how you do the contrast of colors.
Yes.
The thing that gets me about your book, and it actually pisses me off about it, seriously, is that every time I open it, I get different emotions. Like, if you're going to read a horror story, you're going to get scared. You agree?
Yeah.
But every time I open this, and what's so great is if you went to Buds, okay, hopefully you passed. But hey, if you went or you're thinking about it, this book, it reminds me and brings back memories of shit that I forgot.
Yeah.
Like in Hell Week, I was like, oh my God. And on a serious note, Jay and I went through Hell Week together. And it's just like, when I looked at that, when I put it down, I literally went like this. And I know my producer gets mad when I cuss, but I literally I shut the book and I went, holy fuck, I did that. You know what I mean? That's what, because that's Jason was looking at it too at the house a while ago, and he said the same thing. He's like, one, he was like, fuck, I should have got one of these. And two, did we really do this? And I was like, yeah, man, we did.
Yeah.
And that's where that internal brotherhood comes from. And if you're a person that's thinking about going to Butts, and I don't know if you even, because literally we had to beg, borrow, and steal to get some of these from you. And we know, thank you very much. But
there it is.
Look at that.
That's the photo right there. That's the one that started everything.
Look at this photo, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what, those logs, that's not fake weight. That's real weight. I don't think that's old Misery though, is she? That's not Misery.
It's about 300 pounds.
300 pounds.
Average.
Yeah.
No, Old Miz is like 600.
600 or just short of. But that's what I love about this. And that's why actually, you came to the house today. I have that. I have the limited edition. I don't have the crappy one you gave them. I'm joking. I'm joking. That was a joke, guys. That was a joke. I joke. But I actually have the coin that I actually put. If you saw it in my room, I have my graduation of Buds and I put it there and it says Uncommon Grit. And then obviously but whenever I look at that, it's kind of like, the whole shoe thing where I told you about. I look at that, it tells me, if you're having a bad day, I have done this. You've been shot 8 fucking times. Mike Day's been shot 50,000 times. I haven't. but I did accomplish that, and I love it. And it's such a piece of history that, I mean, I'm going to take with me everywhere I go. I mean, people, if you haven't seen this book, I don't know if they can get it, how they can get it, if not, but if you want to get the real, no offense, nitty gritty of what SEAL training is, it's right there.
Well, and even if they don't, even if maybe you're out there and you're like, yeah, I've never been that interested in the SEAL teams, it is the quality of these pictures. And that is where your artistic talent just shines through. You are drawn into almost every single picture you have in this book.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I want to be. Let me just rewind a little bit. After, like I said, just to answer Ray's question, is that we only got like 3 minutes left? Is that what I was looking at?
No.
Okay. Yes, about Uncommon Grit, and I said that was the photo, and so then I did a couple more photos like it, and then they've got all the video, and then I remember Duncan Smith going, "Hey, do you have any photos?" And I pulled out my Mac. I was like, "Yeah, I got these ones." And let me tell you something. Talk about a lot of people good. I know a producer doesn't like us to cuss or anything, but literally, when you got guys looking at it going, "Holy fuck." You know, you can see in their head, they're like, we weren't expecting that. I'm like, I know, you know, because it's me, but no big deal. So anyway, so that started hey, you need to do more of that. And then it turned into, then I unconsciously, I got attached to Buds as a request from the leadership over there, because now they had grandiose ideas of what they wanted to do with this stuff. They saw those pictures like, hey, we're going to put these pictures all around the grinder. You're going to put them in here. We're going to put the head share. We're going to put them in Warcom. We want all this. We're going to name it. And they named it like it was Project Heritage, Project Inspire, you know, just everything. And then it went over to first phase and it's like, hey, you're going to do this, but this is what you're going to do. And I'm like, oh, well, cool. And so then it started, and then it just built from there. And then, you know, I finally retired, but never really finished, because give me the grand spectrum of this project. It was to take 4 or 5 photos that define first phase, second phase, third phase, and every block of training in SQT.
Yeah.
So you can see that was a grand vision. So I applaud the leadership.
Hang on, let me interject just because not everybody out there. So SEAL training is broken into 3 phases.
There we go.
First phase is kind of it's the weed out phase. It's where they try and apply as much physical pressure on you. Hell Week is part of first phase, and most people quit during first phase. Second phase is dive training, where you get still equally hard. It's the second part where most guys will quit, with the culmination being something called pool comp, which basically they just kick your ass underwater and try and get you to quit.
Try to drown you.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah.
And then third phase is it's weapons and explosives and ground tactics. And then if you manage to graduate from SEAL training, now these guys go on to something called SEAL qualification training. So if you look at Buds as high school, SQT's like college.
Christ, we're old too, because it was STT when we all went through.
SEAL tactical training. Remember that shit?
So this is
earmuffs.
So this is a year-long pipeline that McBee is talking about photographing. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sharing that. I get stuck sometimes when I talk about that. But yeah, that was the tasker. I'm like, wow. And so then basically what happened is I do a bunch of photos. I bring them to the PAO's office and I show them what we shot, you know, download them, and then unedit them. It got to the point where I just started racking and stacking photos, because then I went up to Alaska, then I went out to diving, then I did all this stuff. But then after a while, it just got it's like, I can't do this. I'm broken. I've got medical stuff to do. And it just got to the to the end where we just really didn't complete it. And then finally all the photos, it was 22,000 of them total that I had. Wow. all camera raw, by the way, not JPEGs, camera raw. Now let me explain what camera raw and JPEG is. Most people, when they get a digital camera, there's actually all sorts of choices on there, but you get to choose between 2. It's camera raw and JPEG. 99.9% of the people that have a digital SLR camera will shoot in JPEG. All right. There's another thing called camera raw, and what that means is a camera raw photo is just taking the data. Okay, so if I did to describe how that works, a JPEG basically takes that entire 27.2 megabyte information and chops into like 7 megabytes, right? So that would be kind of like you would be representative of a JPEG, and then Ray would be representative of a camera raw photo. So now you have a camera raw photo is all the information, all 27, it's nothing added, you know, and all it is it's there. And then now you take that photo and then you start crafting how you see and you craft it, you know, you build your photo, which is basically what people did back in the old day with the dark rooms. That's how you built your photo, because you got this full frame thing with lots of information, lots of data. You can work with it. Anyway, so I'm giving them like 2 terabytes of photographs, right? Here you go. Here's all the photographs. Went through lots of leadership, lots of getting them released was the biggest thing. You got to release photographs, but that all got done. And then the big thing that now we're finally going to get what Ray talked about was how this come around. Is when I started Instagram and started working things, and I just released one photo at a time, and you know, I didn't really think about it. So in my mind, it's like, well, I got all these cool photos. I really want to do a portfolio of this, you know, and in my mind, it's like, hey, maybe like a gallery or just kind of show people what this is. And then after a couple of years passed by, I always got asked to do a book. And then this is where the meat of what you talked about is like how, first of all, the whole thing isn't complete, number one. And I didn't want to, hey, this is my photograph of all of SEAL training and everything else. It's like, I wanted my most powerful photos that I took were all in first phase Hell Week and to day one. And then that's what I really focused on, because that's where we all start out the same. Okay, we all show up here, and then we're all, no matter what happens in your career afterwards, or you're in the SEAL teams and everything else, all that doesn't matter. That's why a lot of team guys look at this, and everyone reflects back to that one time we're kind of like we're in the nascent stages of who we are as human beings and want to do something great, you know, and we can all go back to that and relate to how kind of like innocent we were, you know. It's like, I remember that this was like, because one thing, you get all a bunch of SEALs together, one thing we have in common is we'll always talk about Bud stories every day, you know, and that's what I wanted. It took me about 3 months to come up with what I wanted to call it, you know, and I thought Uncommon Grit was perfect, you know, because that's exactly what it is. It's uncommon and it's grit. And that's what defines you going through first phase, you know, because there's so much crap that you have to do, and you have to challenge yourself every day. Not only challenge yourself every day, you have to care about the guy next to you too. Yeah. And especially when you're self-loathing and thinking about how miserable you are to the whole freaking thing, you know, and that's why it is what it is. Because it's like all those hard decisions you have to make, whether or not to quit and persevere through all that is right there. And plus it's through my eye, because I went through the shit. So it's like, okay, this is how I looked at this right here. So you see a lot of vignetting in there. You see a lot of old school grunge in there, because that's how I saw it.
So let me ask you a question. Now, I told you earlier, and I know we're going to have to wrap up here soon. I was pissed off because I'm not in your book, but this is what I wanted to ask you. In third phase, I made myself famous by doing something. I don't know if you've ever heard it or not, but I made myself do something without touching myself. Have you ever heard this story?
Well, I'm definitely intrigued.
So I actually, in front of 55 guys, I made myself climax without touching myself. I learned how to do
that guy.
Yes, I'm that guy. So my question is, I
don't know if that's a point of pride.
Wait, hold on, LT. The E5, Buoy 5 of the Navy has the floor.
I thought that was urban legend. That's like Richard Gere shit.
It actually still haunts Cade Courtley. But my question is would you have been dedicated enough to have that camera either deep on my face, because I had double hearing pro and eye protection on, or on my junk and my UDTs? Would you have filmed it and been the artiste that I know you would, start to finish, to get it? And would you put it in the book? Go. Yes or no? That's all I want. Yes or no?
Well, I would have made that one a special edition book.
That would have been on the cover?
Yeah, that would have been a special edition one that you can only buy if you had a promo code and a code word to get into the site.
It's true. That's
a photo of your ID over 18 years old.
I may do it after we're done just to show you I still got it. Okay, Jay.
I believe you, but as an artist, I'm like, how do you do that without?
That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah. I would be fascinated that actually people can actually do that, because I'm older now, you know, and it's like I
need a cigarette now when I'm done. But go ahead.
Need a lot more help in that arena besides my imagination. So, hey, this book has gone on to do some amazing things. It has gotten out there. It is a bestseller, and you have kind of been catapulted into the spotlight. You've been on national media.
Yes.
You're speaking all across the country.
Yes,
so
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's kind of an interesting transition. I know for a lot of us, I felt that too.
It was really interesting. Something that was an idea and pushed through Instagram. McTeams3842, if you want to go check it out. It was the Instagram fans that really push for that. And so we made it. And then I did a small run of it of 2,700 books. And I was like, well, let's see how this goes. And went on Instagram and look, hey, I got to have a book now. Yay, look, check it out. Went through the roof. We went to print in 3 days.
Yeah.
That's how fast it went. And then went on Fox and Friends, and we're like, it got to the point where we're like, oh, we got it. I have like, I do a speech and hey, when they want 40 books, you know how that goes. And, you go 60, books here. And we're like, we got this gallery to do. We're doing a book fair. We're going like, shit. So we started racking and stacking all the books. We're like, okay, this goes here, this or this, this or this. And like, we have this many left. I'm like, all right, well, so I went on Instagram again. It was like, I think it was like last month. I'm like, hey, I got 150 books left. I did 2 posts on Sunday, 1 on Monday, sold them all in 48 hours. Yeah. Done. That's how fast they go. I'm like, wow. But that's an honor. It's a privilege. It really is. It's a very humbled that people like it and you guys liked it. And most, pretty much everyone that opens up the book reminisce and loves it. I haven't gotten one negative thing from anybody about it. They just love where it's going and what it's doing for us and our community. It's kind of like bringing us all together. And that's what I really wanted. It's like, hey, let's just all go back to where we're all just innocent. And that's what I love about it. And now we got picked up by Grand Central out of New York City. So they're going to do a big run next year for Christmas. And this will be in like Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Target, just everywhere, which is freaking awesome.
Now, are they going to run more books?
Yeah, they're running.
So they're going to run in a huge amount. So those of you out there who are like, how do I get my hands on it?
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, that's coming. So when is that coming that they're going to be able to get their hands on?
That'll be next year. But here's the big thing. Grand Central allowed us to print 1,000 books, and they're going to be here last week in November.
Nice. So game on.
Yep. And there's going to be 20 new photos in there that we swapped out. Not that they were bad photos, but when you're an artist, you keep looking at shit over and over again. You're like, well, there's too many ice boat pictures in here. Let's put this one in. And it got to the point where my wife's like, hey, stop. And she actually pulled it away from me and like, no, we're done. This is what we're going to swap out. We're done. And so that went up. And then, of course, Grand Central, we're going to sit down with them and, they have an idea what they want to do. But it's just a privilege. And the biggest privilege is be able to give back to our community, give back to fallen operators and families. We did my Eagle picture alone and the Buds photos raised over $1 million for a charity called Folds of Honor, helping military families who want to get their pay the ultimate sacrifice. But now I'm moving on to more things now. It's like, hey, I want to branch off of like in whatever foundations you guys have, helping other team guys do that are doing great stuff. How can I amplify how can I help you do stuff? And that's my goal for the end of this year. We got a gallery in New York City next year. It's like, okay, let's do a lot more good with this by getting together with other guys doing great stuff.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. So obviously probably the best way that people can be aware of what's going on is to follow you on Instagram.
Yes.
That's probably your biggest platform. Biggest one. So MC Teams 3842, MC Teams 3842. Yep. That's where people can go. So after you watch this episode, definitely go like McB, and then they can also find you at your website. What's your website?
Website's dmcburnett.com. WWF. Oh, I said WWF, right? Because we talked about that earlier on www.dmcburnett.com. DMCBURNETT.com. And then we'll have some stuff in there, and we got posters coming, just all sorts of good stuff that we can do. So, yeah, man, it's awesome. It's great.
Boom.
Love it, bro. So, all right, man. Well, listen, those of you out there, whether you're a young man who's thinking about going to SEAL training, or you are someone who has always been fascinated with special operations, or you're just someone out there who appreciates amazing photography. And I just loved what you talked about at the beginning, because so many people out there don't have that. I don't have that skill, that where you can look at the world and see it. It reminded me of the Matrix.
Yeah.
You look at the world in in green zeros and ones scrolling across, and you're like, I can manipulate this into an amazing photo.
Yeah.
So that's a gift.
Yeah. I'm glad I was gifted with something. Certainly wasn't good looks and muscles.
You look gorgeous. You're a good looking man. Don't shortchange yourself.
Oh, thank God
I'm the only one that's short.
All right, guys. Well, this has been another episode of the Overcome and Conquer Show. McB, it was an honor to have you on. Mr. Care, do you want to shut us down?
No. No, I just want to sit here. I just want to listen. You do your thing.
Sit here and look pretty.
That's it. You do your thing, boss.
Dude. Well, hey, it has been another amazing episode. McBee, thanks so much for having us on. I can't wait to watch the journey there in Central. Yeah, I'm losing it right
Yeah,
here.
that's okay.
New York's, where is it?
Grand Central. Yeah, Grand Central Publishing.
I was actually, so anyways, guys, follow this. Here in November, there's going to be 1,000 books available, so you want to get your hot little hands on them. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait. But follow McBee on Instagram one more time, MCTeams3842, and you will be able to stay apprised and see some of these amazing photos. So, all right, guys, this has been another episode of the Overcome and Conquer Show. I am Jason Overcome Redmond.
And I am Ray Cashcare.
And we are out.
Boom.
Thanks for listening to the Overcome and Conquer Show. Tune in next time, and please remember to subscribe on iTunes. Please visit overcomeandconquer.com.
The Overcome and Conquer Show is presented by The Project. The Project is a full immersion, 75-hour experience designed for men who know in their core they are not living up to their fullest potential. Rather than waking up every morning ready to dominate life, the mediocre man rolls out of bed and slides into the same unfulfilling routine they've unhappily been in for way too long. The Project is for men that have lost their eternal flame and motivation to conquer. It is for men living an unfulfilling life that lacks the excitement and purpose. If this resonates with you and you want to learn more, we encourage you to apply today at www.mdkproject.com/OC show. Boom!